Now we hear of all kinds of things from our government and doctors and health people. Oh, this is how you take care of yourself. This is what you should do. One of the best things you can do for, and I credit Robert Peterball for teaching us, and Joe already knew about this. I've been learning over the last year when it comes to grounding and how important it is to ground and what that means. And we finally got an expert on with this today. We have Gina in. She's from Redemption Shield. She's the owner of that. Gina, thanks for taking time to join us today. By the way, you go into the Hall of Fame of shots that look amazing.
Yes.
Hopefully you sound as good as you look. Thank you for taking the time. And thank you for what you do with grounding, because for whatever reason, nationally, it seems like doctors and government try to cover up what you do and the products that you provide.
Yeah, it's been a controversial subject, to say the least. But yeah, I started this in 2020 after losing my career position, and that was not fun. But I was in need. I was actually really suffering from ill health at the time. And it wasn't COVID. It was just, I was really having a hard time, like just being around my electronics, my Wi-Fi. I could actually hear that high tone or that high pitch. And it was so debilitating. I actually felt like I was going to die in 2020. And so with COVID coming, losing my job, all of this all together, I was starting to look for solutions. And my mother is a Marine. She's 86 now. And we used to hike the Cascade Mountains. So, you know, I know what it's like to be in a negative ion environment that's pristine. And that's become harder and harder to find now that we have over 400,000 cell towers in the United States alone.
Mm-hmm.
So this became something that became a passion of mine, because I realized we weren't able to get away anymore. We used to try to go up north to the Boundary Waters and get away from our electronics. And now there's cell towers hovering over the Boundary Waters. So there's some benefit, obviously, because now you can contact anybody, anywhere, pretty much with satellite. But we haven't really taken into consideration the ramifications of all of these things that we're surrounded by 24/7.
Mhm.
Gina Paeth on with us, the owner of Redemption Shield. Talk about how your products and grounding have changed your life and how they change people's lives who buy them. Because I reached out, I found you, and I was blown away by the products that you have in the stories. And that's why we will be using them as well here.
Yeah, it's just been so exciting, because I've started this really for myself and started looking for solutions. So grounding is 101 to health. Essentially, grounding is getting these negative ions in our body, and that comes from the earth. And it's a connection that you literally plug in to your third round hole in your outlet. So this here is the grounding plug. This is a grounding sheet. And so people will sleep on the sheets and it connects them to the earth. And I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but there's actually scientific peer reviews behind grounding. And what it does is all of these electronics, emit what we call positive ions, which are not positive to our body. They're actually very bad. And what it does is it makes us get a lot of pain and inflammation in our body. So that's the number one issue in our country, is people have inflammation and pain. And so when you ground, essentially all of these positive ions can grab an electron from the negative ion. And so then it kind of cancels it out instead of grabbing it from your cells. So people have experienced night and day changes. Like, it's crazy. I have probably 1,000 5-star reviews from all of my platforms. Wow. With WooCommerce, with Amazon, now on Walmart. So there's just so many different places, but I really want to encourage you, go to the website, because when you guys buy there and you use the code cancel this, you actually, save 10%.
Actually Victor Faust, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've got it under Victor Faust is
Oh,
what we have.
Victor Faust. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we've got it
So
under Victor Faust right now. We're showing products on the website right now. Can you
Mhm.
talk about the different products and how they help and how they're so universal?
yeah, so you can see the grounding bed sheet and the mat right at the top. Those are my number one products. So people will use either the bed sheet that goes right under your body, or they put the mat down and then they use their own cotton sheets right over the top. There's pros and cons to both. Some people like the bed sheet because it's cooler, but when you use a mat, it can be a little warmer to your body. So maybe women in their 50s are going to hate it. So it's really depends on your body type. Uh, the nice thing about the mat is it's going to last a lifetime. The sheet is much more comfortable, but it's not going to last as long.
Mhm.
So those are kind of the pros and cons. We sell a ton of those. Then we have mats that you can literally use at your desk. And I have two of them. I have one on the floor that I put my foot on, and then I have one right under my laptop. And that essentially grounds me right at my desk. Because right here, I'm going to show you this alien type meter that you're seeing. This actually measures the EMF right here. And I'm going to show you what it sounds like.
Wow.
So that's the sound of these positive ions hitting your body. So when you have Bluetooth on, when you have your laptop right in front of you, you have your phones next to you, you have everything else in your studio, imagine all of the positive ions in your environment. You want to be grounded. So it's hitting your body and it's released out of your body rather than you holding that in your body and it causing more health problems down the road. So grounding mats, those are so critical. You can use those for your pets as well. So there's pet beds that you can get and put that right in their bed. And animals love grounding. It's literally like being outside in the grass. So we sell a ton of those. I always hear about people's pets actually wanting to stay on their bed because they've got grounding mats and grounding sheets. And so they don't want to get off the bed now. So your pets will love it. If you want to give a gift to your pet, you definitely want to do that for the holidays. So we also have these bed canopies. And I know it sounds crazy, but there are people who are living right underneath a cell tower, or they have 3 cell towers right around their general vicinity. So they're using these canopies to go over their bed and a grounding mat. So they've got 4 layers. That grounding mat serves as a protective layer. So now you've got 4 layers, and this serves as a Faraday cage. And so a lot of people sleep better at night. They're starting to see inflammation go away in their body. They're not waking up 4 or 5 times a night. So this is just another item that you can use in a severe positive ion environment.
Yeah, from the chat line, Terry says, I've been using a grounding mat for a month now and it works! Exclamation point. I slept the whole night, which I hadn't done in years. I go to the doctor this week and hope to see a difference in my blood work as well. Is that possible to see?
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're grounding, your blood actually is not sticking together as much. I've actually done tests on that. And like I said, this is peer reviewed. This has been tested for several years. I'm going to guess around 30 years. Grounding has been tested very much. So your blood can actually flow freer. You're not getting as much stickiness in your blood. So definitely grounding is changing people's lives. So I really want to encourage you, start with grounding. Then you can do other things as well. You can shield yourself. You can lower that EMF off your Wi-Fi. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't even have Wi-Fi anymore. Unless I'm doing a podcast, I turn on my Wi-Fi because I'm away from my Ethernet. So this is just something I've had to do for my own general health. But imagine our pets and our children are living around these electronics. Sometimes, I mean, these children are in Wi-Fi environments all day long at school. They're around all these electronics. Now, I'm in my 50s and I didn't get around electronics until my 30s. Now, look at these poor children. They're literally bombarded with electronics their whole life, and we're not seeing yet how that's going to impact them. So, we definitely want to be thinking about ways we can reduce this in our home. Get a Wi Fi router cover, which is essentially a copper cover made of a copper material. And I'm just going to show you real quick how powerful this is. Now, I have Wi-Fi running. So here's with my Bluetooth as well. When I put this over the top, okay,
Wow.
back out
Incredible.
again. Now, I'm just going to show you with a dish towel. It doesn't even help. So you can see it's the material that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gina, you're very, very, very good with explaining this and the explanations. This may sound like a remedial question. What if lightning strikes near the house?
So, grounding is something that is very beneficial. I would say that maybe in like the hurricane that just happened in North Carolina, if that was going to happen, then maybe I would unplug my grounding cord. But I've been grounding and people have been grounding for 30 plus years, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You don't hear that people are getting electrocuted or anything like that.
I hadn't heard that, but I just wanted to get that out there.
You really don't. And I know that's everybody's like, well, what about this? But I mean, there's a danger with pretty much anything, but the benefits are so powerful. And I would just say you have to be wise about that and make those good decisions. Now, also there's a grounding cord. So you have to be wise about using a cord as well, because that can be a danger too. So you got to hide those around children. You need to hide those around your pets. So, just like anything in life, we have to be wise about how we use things.
Yeah, talking with Gina Paeth, the owner of Redemption Shield. And I didn't want to dominate the interview. Megan, if you have anything to ask or say, jump in. I just had one other question I wanted to ask her about. We had a surgeon on the show, a knee doctor, ankle doctor, Gina, who I asked about grounding, and he was clueless. He's like, I've never even heard of grounding. Washington University educated. In these parts, people know about WashU and doctors being trained there, had never heard of grounding. Why is it that so many doctors and general MDs will not suggest grounding? And if people want to ground, you can ground naturally outside in sunlight and grass, but it's not always that simple. I just didn't understand why it's not what appears to be common knowledge to you, not for America.
Well, unfortunately, as you and I both know, there's a certain doctrine that's taught and it's one way. And so if you were to go to a naturopath, they're going to know this in a second. So it really depends on who you're getting your information from. Now, a lot of doctors are starting to see natural alternatives, frontline doctors, different ones who have really been exposed to more issues that came around 2020. And so I think there's a switch happening, and we're starting to see that happen in the health community, but it's slow going because they're taught one way. And that's really unfortunate because God made us to be able to have natural alternatives, herbs, and different things that we can use for our healing. And to just think that there's just one way pharmaceuticals is just ignorance.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the quick fix, and it's just writing a script. There's so many different people scratching each other's backs within the pharmaceutical industry too. So if you go to the doctor and you're not, a naturopath or a homeopathic, type of doctor, you're going to just say, you know what, you've got some inflammation, or you're not sleeping well, or, your different markers in your blood are showing up. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to write this prescription rather than do something like this. And you might not get that instant gratification. It might take some time, but I believe that, doing things like this is truly, truly, truly the way to, just to have better all around health.
Mhm.
And like you said, it is it is just unbelievable how many different just electric currents and just different, I don't even know what you would call them, going around, whether it's, our cell phones, it's our cell phone towers, it's Wi-Fi. We're constantly looking at a screen of some type. I mean, even in our cars, people are
Right.
constantly looking at a screen. So, because there's just so many benefits to this, if you were to give just the top 3 quick benefits to grounding, to your sheets, or to having that copper cover on your Wi-Fi router, which that to me, that just blew my mind, by the way. I'm definitely going to do that. But if you could give like the 3 benefits to this, what would those be?
Well, just general overwhelming general health. You're going to notice a difference. For some like myself who are more sensitive, you're going to notice immediately. Like I've had people literally put on a beanie hat, which is like a silver hat. And they've put this on literally with a headache and it's gone away immediately.
Wow.
So that's
So
how much
overall health.
overall health, you're
Mhm.
going to notice more peace of mind.
Mhm.
You'll notice more clarity. That's one thing that I experienced. Um, and sleeping better. I mean, sleeping better leads to general health
Yes,
anyway.
I
If we're
believe that.
waking up 5 or 6 times a night, it's only going to tear down our body. We're not getting that REM sleep that our body really needs. And I can go 8 hours and never wake up once
Mhm.
easily now. And I don't have back pain like I used to have. It's really, really changed my life. And like I can say, with a
Mm.
thousand, 5-star reviews, I very rarely get a review that's lower than 3, maybe a couple in my whole existence as a business. So people
Mm.
are having good effects happen. If you're in general good health already, what you might notice is that you'll recover from a workout much quicker.
Hmm.
So if you go to the gym every day, you lift weights, you might notice that, hey, I recovered pretty quick after grounding all night long.
Hmm.
So those are some of the things that you might notice in general good health.
Gina, you've been amazing.
Nice.
We appreciate the time that you've given us so far. I am curious, what part of the country are you located in?
I'm in Minnesota.
What's it like up there from a political standpoint these days being in that state?
Well, I have my Trump signs outside. So,
Good
and my
luck.
neighbor put up her Trump sign, and actually everyone around me is Trump. Some people are really afraid to put out their signs, but I think when they saw me put mine out, then the neighbor did, and I think it's kind of catching on. We're tired of being bullied. And what I'm seeing is that the further out you go from, let's say, Bloomington, and you go out into Wright County, and you go out to the further out you go, it's more Trump territory. So I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota turns red this season. So
Woohoo!
I'm excited. I'm super excited. I watched last night the Madison Square Garden. That was fantastic. But I do want to say really quick, if you're in an environment like last night with how many people were there, did they say?
21,000 inside, maybe 100,000 outside trying to get in. And those totals come from the fire department in New York City.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, can you imagine 21,000 cell phones?
Yeah.
Literally, there were people there last night who had headaches and they didn't know why. There were people there last night who had heart palpitations and they didn't know why. And it was most definitely when you get 21,000 cell phones going and you have high 7G, believe it or not, they have high frequency Wi-Fi's now that are beyond 5G. When you're doing that, you're going to see a lot of people are going to have side effects and they don't know what's going on. They
Mm,
have no idea.
interesting.
So being in that type of environment, you'll see those things just spike, which is crazy.
Makes sense.
Gina,
Definitely.
thank you so much for your time. And by the way, for our viewers and listeners, go to redemptionshield.com. The discount code that we have is Victor Faust, redemptionshield.com. The code is Victor Faust. You won't be disappointed. You see a little bit about what Gina's about. You're super intelligent. You're super sweet. You do a great job at showing specifically live how these products help. And I know your time is very valuable to you because it's difficult to get you. I know you're doing things all over the country when it comes to podcasting and promoting your products. We just wish you continued success. Can we get you back on more and talk about some of these specific issues when it comes to frequency and towers? I know our producer Projo he's smiling, licking his chops in there. He's like, yes, yes, I've been telling you guys, this is what we got to talk about. This is real when it comes to health. So would love to get you back on. Okay.
Absolutely. I would love to come back on with you guys. And I appreciate everything you're doing to try to get the truth out there.
Thank you.
All right, Gina, have an awesome day. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Gina Paeth
Gina.
with redemptionshield.com. Once again, redemptionshield.com. Use the discount code Victor Faust if you want to check out some of those products. What a fascinating guest and business owner.
Yes.